Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Caitlin Clark fans, I keep trying to tell you the call is coming from inside the house. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. I hope you're having a fantastic day, starting a new week. Shout out to the 19. It has been a heck of a week. I have been, let's just say, under the weather. A couple times there, I cranked out some videos. I thought, oh, yeah, okay, I'm feeling better. I can do this. And then, nothing the next day. But we are back. We have something new to talk about with Stephanie White. Yes, Stephanie White is back at it. Now, this isn't even about the things we usually talk about that I've talked about in terms of her coaching. I've never been convinced she's a great coach, and I don't even want to get into all that. We can leave that for another day. But this next thing, this just reinforces for me one of the most interesting things of 2026 is going to be the divide between Caitlin Clark fans and Stephanie White fans. Caitlin Clark fans who recognize what Stephanie White is to Caitlin Clark, and the Caitlin Clark fans who have bought in 100% into Stephanie White actually being a good coach who cares about Caitlin Clark. That is going to get very, very interesting. But we have something to add to that, some fuel to the fire. As you can see, Stephanie White calls out toxicity while breaking down WNBA changes needed. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White shared a strong message about negativity surrounding the WNBA. Now, that right in of itself, separate from the WA, is just a delusional thing we've gotten in our culture nowadays, where everything has to be exactly how you want it, and everyone has to agree with you, or all of a sudden, you're a victim, and they're hate, and there's phobia this and ism that, and it goes on and on. And so, of course, that is what we're getting into here, because of course she's talking about the new Caitlin Clark fans. You are toxic, according to Stephanie White. Now, let that sink in and think about what that means in terms of how Stephanie White is going to coach Caitlin Clark. The WNBA experiencing a massive growth period over the past couple of years is an undoubtedly good thing. In fact, there's a case to be made that it could not have come at a better time for the league, given that the Players Association is currently in negotiations with the WNBA League office for the next CBA. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the players are fumbling it. I think they could not be doing a worse job than what they're doing right now and how they're handling it. But, I mean, I think there's also a lot of conflict of interest there, which is probably part of the problem. But again, that's a topic for another video. Now, if women's basketball hadn't experienced this boom in popularity, which is largely owed to star players, here we go again, like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers entering the WNBA thriving. No, it is largely owed to star player Caitlin Clark. End of sentence. It's hard to imagine that WNBA players would get the vastly increased salaries they're going to receive as part of a ratified CBA, or at least their salaries wouldn't have increased to the same degree. That part, 100% true. Caitlin Clark says, "You're welcome." No, unfortunately, Caitlin Clark doesn't have it in her to talk like that, but she should. But this new attention on women's basketball isn't wholly positive. And of course, it has to be wholly positive, and it has to be wholly positive in a way that they deem as positive. With so many fans flocking to the sport, this has brought a lot of negativity among select players, especially on social media, blah, blah, woof, woof. Much of the discourse around teams, players, and rivalries, with the most notable being that between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, breeds a lot of nastiness and tribalism on social media that players are thrown in the middle of. So, sports, like that's what is blowing my mind. I'm going to get into the Stephanie White stuff here in a minute, but this is what's blowing my mind in general with the WNBA, where they can't help but constantly shoot themselves in the foot over normal stuff that they want to make abnormal. What you're talking about, have you been to NBA Twitter? Have you checked out NFL Twitter? This is all normal stuff, folks. This is what it's like. Sports inherently is tribal, if you want to use that phrase, because you are now. I get it's a little different with Caitlin Clark in that we're talking about a player than team. So just understand that when I talk about teams and fans. In Caitlin Clark's case, is a little bit different. Something we that's unique to a team sport. But As an Eagles fan, I'm an Eagles fan. That is my tribe, Eagles fans. And yeah, we have rivalries, and that means we have nastiness on social media with other fan bases. And look, most fans, and they step back, and they understand where there's a line, and they I ran into a Cowboys fan the other night. I didn't know he was a Cowboys fan when we started talking. I had my Eagles gear on, and we had a nice conversation because that's kind of what normal fans do. Did we talk? Crap to each other a little bit. Yeah, but it was civil. We had a good conversation. Wished them luck on the rest of the season. That's how these things go, folks. Okay. But sports fandom is inherently tribal. That is normal. And here we go now. Stephanie White's stance on toxicity around WNBA speaks volumes. Does it, though? Does it really speak volumes? I'm not so sure. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White was the guest on a December 5 episode of Bird's Eye View, which is hosted by WNBA legend. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not fair. Legend. I'm sorry. I just can't put that all together. WNBA legend super. Anyway, so we had so they changed the podcast for this episode to Two Snakes in the Grass. That was the name of the episode. White was asked what changes she'd like to see in the WNBA at one point and delivered a poignant. It was poignant, folks. She bores me to tears every time she speaks, but yeah, poignant. After speaking about how the WNBA has come mainstream in the past couple of years, White said, "Some things I'd like to change. I'd like to change the toxicity around our leagues." See, right there in and of itself, I dismiss you. That is a relatively new phrase used in the last few years to again shut down any type of debate or opinion that may be different than the one from the people using that phrase. I know that's not really a controllable factor, but you're going to say it anyway. I love the fact that the women in our league are always at the forefront of social change in sports in general, but women in particular. So there you go, folks. There you have it. Stephanie White, as I've said before, Stephanie White is 100% old guard WNBA, pure activist. She is all about the league being activism first, basketball second. Again, this is a woman. You can make of it what you will, but I just want to be clear when we talk about the WNBA and we talk about players like Candace Wiggins and what she's said, and we've looked at what's going on with Caitlin Clark, and we've talked about things that have been said like um, well, I won't even, I'm going to skip that. I won't even get the details, but things that have been said about her sexuality, even from weirdo Caitlin Clark fans who were desperate for her to be into women instead of into men. The whole thing is absolutely bizarre. I don't know why people care so much in either direction. It's absurd. But Stephanie White, like some other women in the WNBA, she was married to a man. Now, not so much because she got involved in the WNBA, and that is the activism we're talking about. You could think it's good, you could think it's bad, but the point being, this is not a sports league. It's never been a sports league. The basketball is an excuse for the activism, and Stephanie White is 100% on board with the activism being number one, and then the basketball, and she is the one coaching Caitlin Clark. I think we want to continue to expand the footprint to look to make the season longer. It's tough with the calendar. That part is true. There's the reason the WNBA was in the summer, just like MLS and soccer was in the summer. It's because of the competition in their normal season. It's tough with everything we have to compete against, but these women deserve the opportunity to have this as their only job, number one, and to be able to play a true season and to have an off season so their bodies can recover. Okay, first of all, see again, this is where we're getting into not equal, not an opportunity, but special treatment because they choose to make it not their only job. The minimum salary in the WNBA is more than the typical American makes, and they work 4 to 5 months of the year. It's gotten a little longer, so I'll throw 5 in there, but not even half the year. So they make more than the average American. They work less than half a year when the average American works 12 months out of the year and is lucky to get a week or two vacation, of which they've probably done something that they've saved up all year to pay for. So this idea that they deserve to have this opportunity as their only job is absurd because it can be their only job. They just choose to go make more money and think that somehow because they're an athlete, like most athletes in other sports, that they deserve to get insanely rich from playing a sport for a couple of seasons. But anyway, hopefully we won't see the same amount of injury we've seen recently. Well, that's a topic for another day. But anyway, yeah. So just be clear, she's talking about y'all. Y'all are the toxic ones. She doesn't like the new fans any more than Dejanay Carrington likes the new fans. Okay? I'm just saying. Think about it. Let that sink in. This is Caitlin Clark's coach, but we've got videos on that coming too for some other stuff that I want to talk about. But I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for checking out the video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Go check out the entertainment channel as well. And if you're a sports guy who's maybe leans to enjoying Philly sports, check that out as well. We're over 800 subscribers on that, over 250 on the entertainment channel. And man, I'll talk to you in the next video.